Morant with a running start. Elevates. Oh, he dunks. Oh, my goodness.
Tie game in overtime. Gasol will turn. His heave is good. Memphis on top. 7-10 remaining.
Conley now with three. Count it. A 15-point lead for Memphis. And Blake Griffin gets into it on the floor with Randolph. Hard to tell if there are any punches being thrown under there, but Griffin took acceptance.
Adams going long. Morant. He hit it. Ja Morant, insanity.
You gotta be kidding me.
Welcome to Grits and Grinds, a Memphis Grizzlies podcast, Grizzlies Win Edition. My name is Keith Parish. The Grizzlies won their 10th straight game. They blew out the Phoenix Suns on MLK Day. They got some semblance of vengeance for their last loss. An embarrassing home defeat to the same shorthanded Suns squad. This time, they delved out the punishment, won by 30 points. They scored 39 in the second and third quarters. The game was tied at 70, and the Grizzlies had a 30-9 run. You got dominant, huge games from Ja Morant, Desmond, Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr. The Grizzlies have now posted their second longest win streak in franchise history behind their 11-game win streak from last season. A little reminder, in the first 26 years of the Grizzlies franchise, they had 0 single-season 10-game win streaks. Now they have one in each of the last 2 seasons. A lot of fun stats from this one. The Grizzlies scored 136 points, and basically in garbage time, they forgot how to score. They had 130 halfway through the fourth quarter. The Grizzlies have won 23 straight games when they score at least 130 points. This was their third straight game of scoring 130 or more. This is only the second time in their franchise history they've done that. They also did this last season. It was the first time in franchise history they've gone 7 straight, scoring 120 or more. The Grizzlies are on pace right now to have the most points in the paint ever. Scoring is obviously up league-wide. Scoring is up for the Grizzlies. And the last time scoring was up in the NBA, decades and decades ago, they didn't keep these stats. So Grizzlies, who had 66 points in the paint in this game on Monday, on pace to have the most points in the paint ever recorded. From Grizzlies PR, this 10-game win streak is the first 10-game win streak since 1985, the Showtime Lakers, where the team scored at least 115 points in every game of a 10-game win streak. So things are cooking for the Grizzlies right now. You had Ja Morant, who was on fire in the first half. He'd been in a bit of a three-point shooting slump. He made 5 three-pointers in the first half as the Suns kept going under screens. He didn't have to do much in the second half. I mean, he had a big third quarter like he typically does. Didn't play the fourth quarter. He and Dillon got the entire fourth quarter off. Desmond Bane had 28 points and 6 assists. Desmond Bane posted the highest field goal percentage game of his career for any game where he attempts at least 10 field goal attempts, was 10 out of 12 from the field. Desmond has made 3 or more threes in 5 straight games. He was 3 out of 4 against the Suns. He's now 19 for 32 from 3 in his last 5 games. For the season, 21.7 points per game, 4 assists per game. And the Grizzlies, oh, by the way, are 18-5 when Desmond Bane plays. Jaren Jackson Jr. might have had the best game of all these guys. 18 points, 8 rebounds, 6 blocks, and 2 steals. Those numbers are nuts. 14 straight games now for Jaren having at least 2 blocks. This was the 21st career game for Jaren having 5 or more blocks. That ties Marc Gasol for the second most such games in Grizzlies franchise history. 8 combined steals and blocks. Jaren now has 6 games this season with at least 5 blocks and 2 steals. The entire rest of the NBA has 4 combined. Jaren's got 6 of them. The only other player with more than 1, Anthony Davis. He has 2. Jaren was plus 30 in his 26 minutes. The last 2 games, Pacers and Suns, Jaren's played 48 minutes total. The Grizzlies have won those minutes by 62. Jaren Jackson Jr. now leads the NBA in net rating. Plus 14.2. That's for all players who've played at least 20 games. No minutes limit. On a per-game basis, he's second in just plus-minus per game behind Nikola Jokic. You cannot understate Jaren Jackson Jr.'s impact. He's been monstrous this season. I think he's rebounding the ball well. But the combination of offense, the solid three-point shooting, and the spectacular league-best defensive presence truly been something to behold. Jaren was amazing. Ja was amazing. Desmond was amazing. That's how you get this Grizzlies team playing as well as anybody. I mean, the 10 straight wins speak for themselves. Yes, the schedule was very, very easy. Continues to be easy. The next game on Wednesday night might be tougher, although Donovan Mitchell's status for the Cavaliers is a question mark right now. But the Cavaliers are very, very good. They are second in the NBA in defensive rating behind the Grizzlies. Big challenge on Wednesday night. Don't miss it. Get your tickets. Call 901-888-HOOP or visit the FedEx Forum box office. Go to Grizzlies.com. But the Grizzlies are playing great. The entire starting lineup. I mean, Dylan Brooks took 8 field goal attempts. Also did not play in the fourth quarter. He scored 8 points. Steven Adams, again, not much needed. Everything's working great. The Grizzlies' offensive prowess right now when their starters on the court, their preferred starters, and we know, yes, we haven't had that many games of them. Right now, they're posting a 126 offensive rating when Jaren, Ja, Dylan, Dez, and Steven Adams are on the court together. They're plus 21.6 with those guys on the court. Remember, last year, they were actually better per 100 possessions. They were plus 25.1 in the regular season last year. It isn't a ton of possessions because of various injuries and things, but this is now 2 years when the Grizzlies have their 5 preferred starters. They look awesome. Another stat from this game, which I did not know, is the Grizzlies haven't lost a game this year where they've had a 10-point lead. If they get ahead by 10, they're 30-0. I know we've tracked the blown leads where they went to overtime a couple times after, having big leads and having leads erased, but the Grizzlies haven't lost a lead this year of 10 points. That's a remarkable stat. Teams constantly lose 10-point leads. Another remarkable stat to me, at least, maybe no one else is as excited about it. If the Grizzlies just score 110 points, they're now 29-2. The next best winning percentage is the Bucks. They're 21-4. But the Grizzlies are winning over 90% of their games when they score just 110 points. League average is 114. The Grizzlies average 117, 118 points per game. It used to be, in previous seasons, it was like, hey, if the Grizzlies make at least 12 three-pointers, they're unbeatable. Or if the Grizzlies make 45% of the three-pointers. Last year, if you remember, it was the particular stat I kept using was if the Grizzlies make an average number of three-pointers. I believe it's if they shot over 35% from three. Last year, they won almost all their games. This year, it's if you perform just not horribly on offense, you win. If you can score within 4 points of league average, the Grizzlies are winning over 90% of their games. I know it's a very easy stretch of the schedule, but those to me are absolutely contender statistics. They're eye-popping statistics. It's why the analytics sites and like 538 consider the Grizzlies to be one of the championship favorites. I mean, you wouldn't take the Grizzlies over the field, but as far as an individual team, they have as good of odds, according to the computers and the formulas, as anybody. This was the Grizzlies at full strength, or just about as close to full strength as they've been all year. No John Conchar on the bench. Probably would have been in the 10-minute rotation. But you have your preferred starters, and you get elite games. You get elite games from your big names, your big three. You have Tyus Jones, Zaire Williams, David Roddy, Aldama, and Clark off the bench. This was full strength, and this is what the Grizzlies can do. Now, are they just, a regular season juggernaut? Do we know anything about the playoffs? Of course not, but who cares? We'll enjoy this now. Yet another blowout for this team. Another 30-point win, 25-point win, 20-point win. All of them. It's really good stuff. Off the bench, we had some streaks that stayed alive, barely. Zaire Williams has made a three-pointer in 10 straight, although that's the only shot he made was one three-pointer, scored 3 points. Tyus Jones missed a lot of open shots. He finished with 10 points and 8 assists, but he did keep his 8-game streak going of making 2 or more threes, extending a career high. Brandon Clark, now since returning from injury, is 10 out of 12 from the field. Brandon had a huge dunk in this one, providing that spark off the bench. Santi Aldama in this one, didn't do much, but I thought his three-pointer in the third quarter was a big one. And again, the game was tied at 70. The Grizzlies got up and the Suns made a run, and it felt like it was still like it was still up in the balance. The game wasn't decided. I thought Santi made a big three to extend it. Maybe another bigger play. Technically, the biggest play of the game was Jaren Jackson Jr. having a 5-point play. Having 2 and 1s on the same possession. That was a big play of the game. But when the Grizzlies play like this, they're very, very hard to beat, obviously. 16 made three-pointers is spectacular for the Grizzlies. Obviously, when Bane and Morant combined to go 8 for 12 from 3, going to be hard to beat the Grizzlies. And oh, by the way, according to DeMichael Cole of the Commercial Appeal, Danny Green has participated in 5-on-5 practices. So that sounds like Danny Green is very close to returning. That could be, quote-unquote, the trade deadline pickup is having Danny Green available. I assume he will definitely crack this rotation. Adding Danny Green to this team should improve them. Here's another weird stat, by the way. The Grizzlies, have this 10-game win streak. 8 of the games have happened in January. So that's 8, this January. Last January, they were 12-4. An incredibly good record. The January before that, it was the weird year after COVID break. The season started late. They only played 11 games in January. It was actually the second month of the season then. But the Grizzlies went 8-3 in that January. Taylor Jenkins' first year on the Grizzlies, the Grizzlies, no one expected anything from them. They finished below 500. But in January, Taylor Jenkins won Coach of the Month. And the Grizzlies went 11-4 in January of 2020. So that means now Taylor Jenkins' record as a coach in January is 39-11. That's a 78% win percentage. I don't know what it is about January. Maybe the team learns all this stuff by then. They hit their stride. Maybe it's something about the way they trust their players. They give the minutes to their deeper cut rotation players earlier in the year. There's some hiccups like this year. The Roddy LaRavia minutes, a little tough. Last year, the Zaire minutes, a little tough. But you reap those benefits later in the season. They start learning what they're supposed to do, and you win. I don't know. Maybe it's just random. It probably is random. You're a good team, and eventually you're going to go through some runs. For whatever reason, the Grizzlies have been owning the month of January recently. Anyways, the next game where they go for the 11th straight win to tie last year's mark and the all-time franchise mark is Wednesday night against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Very good matchup. And then Friday night, don't miss it. Hopefully the Grizzlies are going for a franchise record 12th straight win, and I'll be hosting a watch party in Nashville, Tennessee at Noble's Beer Hall for Grizzlies Lakers. That's a 9 p.m. Central Time start. Come down to Noble's. John and Chuck from Fast Break Breakfast will be there. We'll be giving away Grizzlies prizes. So come hang out, watch the Grizzlies on Friday night, January 20th. It's a great run. I mean, even if there's a chance the Grizzlies end up being like the mid-90s Sonics and don't win a title, but just win a bunch of games every year, that's okay. We don't have to get obsessed with what can they do in the playoff questions. Enjoy the journey. That's what I say. And right now, the Grizzlies are very awesome to watch. And, of course, they still have a very, very bright future. And Jaren, let's get him in the All-Star game. Make sure you keep voting for Ja Morant to make the All-Star game. It's going to be hard to be a starter, but it's possible. But Jaren has a great All-Star case. Desmond Bane probably missed too many games, but if the Grizzlies basically never lose when Bane plays, maybe he'll find a way in there as well. And if the Grizzlies have the best record, Taylor Jenkins gets to coach the All-Star game. All things to be cheering for and watching for and enjoying. Anyways, please subscribe to the Grits and Grinds YouTube channel. Hope you have a great Tuesday. I'll talk to you soon. Go Grizz.